welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and like this video. So today I'm going to be talking about my road trips that Jeremy and I took all of last year. We took one in May, and then we took another one in September, and then we took another one in January. So, long story short, back in January of 2019, I broke my elbow. I was trying to snowboard, which I will never try that again because clearly it's just not a sport for me. So, I broke my arm snowboarding. As you can see, here's my big scar on my arm. I was out of work for almost 6 months. Well, I wasn't out of work, but I couldn't do my normal nursing job. My boss was nice enough to let me do something else that I could do with a broken arm. So while I was sitting here in the house thinking about what I was doing with my life, I realized that I need to stop spending money on stupid stuff like clothes and other things, and I needed to go on adventures. So I made a promise to myself that once my arm healed, I was going to go on many different adventures and start spending my money on experiences versus material things. But let me tell you, that has not worked out for me this year at all because I can't go anywhere. So, anyway, my husband, Jeremy, is a photographer. He's not a professional photographer. He just enjoys doing nature photography. So, I figured I could make a video of our trips that we took in 2019 and the beginning of this year and show you some of his photos and tell you a little bit about the places that we went. So I'm first going to start off with my trip that we took in May of 2019. We always try to take a trip in May because that's when our anniversary is. Our anniversary is May the 24th, and this was for our first year anniversary, I think. It's hard for me to remember what our actual wedding anniversary is, like how many years, because we've been together for 10 years, so bear with me. This was our first anniversary trip, and our first stop on that trip was Hot Springs, and that is in Arkansas. It's a national park. It is the only national park that protects a combination of lithology, geographic structure, and water sources that produce the only non-volcanic geothermal springs in the United States. And in Hot Springs, there are a bunch of bathhouses where the thermal springs are piped directly into both of the bathhouses. So we went to a place called Arlington Bathhouse. It was built in 1875. It's actually a spa and a hotel. And let me tell you, taking a bath in one of those hot springs is super relaxing. So basically, you go into this bathhouse and they have a bunch of rooms with bathtubs, and the attendants fill your water and you get to soak in the bath. And after you get out of the bath, they put you in a sauna, which is like super hot. But you try to stay in there for, I think it's 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I'm not sure. And then after that, when you get out of the sauna, they wrap you in, I want to say it's hot towels. They wrap your whole body in hot towels, and then they put like a ice cold towel on your face. And let me tell you, that feels so good after you've been soaking in the hot spring, you've been in the sauna. It feels amazing. And then after that, you go and you shower in just regular temperature water. I felt so refreshed at the end of this. Like, I can't even explain to you how awesome it is. And I totally want to go back eventually at some point because it's just an amazing experience. And another place that we went in hot springs was Garvin Woodland Gardens. It's a botanical garden of the University of Arkansas. I mostly wanted to see Anthony's Chapel, which is this huge glass chapel, and it's like 6 stories tall, and it was created by Maurice Jennings and Faye Jones. It's the 4th best design of 20th century by American Institute of Architects. So it was nominated the 4th best design. So let me tell you about our experience in Garvin Woodland Gardens. So we were in Hot Springs and it was sunny up until about the end of the day, and then it started raining. And when it started raining, we just kind of waited it out at one of the bathhouses, and then we decided to drive over to the garden. Well, the gates to the garden was open, so we drove in, and we drove we drove to a parking area. We got out, we walked around in the little park, and we went to the chapel, and then we got back in our car and we tried to leave. They had closed the gates to this park. So they had put a number on the gates to call to get out. So we called the number, no one answered. We called it several times. So then we drove back up to the entrance of this place, and luckily we found this man that was a vendor because they do weddings there, and he showed us how to get out for the vendor access. But otherwise, we would have been locked in this place. It was an insane experience. Well, since we got out of that, the next place that we went was to Carlsbad Caverns, which is in New Mexico. It is basically a cavern. It's created by erosion within the last millions years, and it's on a limestone bed, and it includes a place called the Big Room, which is the largest chamber in North America. This cavern is massive. I've never seen anything so big in my whole entire life. It was super fun. And it was kind of chilly. Like, you know, New Mexico is hot outside. It was like 80 degrees or something crazy like that. But inside this cavern, it was like 50 degrees. And I think it maintains its temperature like throughout the whole year. Like, I don't think it changes temperature at all. And then after we went to Carlsbad, we went to White Sands, which White Sands is the newest national park. It became a national park either at the end of December of 2019 or the beginning of the year in 2020. And these white sand dunes are formed by gypsum crystals, and it is the largest of its kind on Earth. So it is really cool to see, and I really wanted to do some backcountry camping in White Sands, but unfortunately they were doing missile testing, so we did not get to camp in White Sands, but that's okay. Our next destination was the Grand Canyon, which, as you know, the Grand Canyon is the 2nd most visited national park in the United States. Guess what's the first? The Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and I only live maybe 30 minutes from it. Anyway, back to the Grand Canyon. So we went to the Desert View Watchtower, which was designed by a Mary Coulter in 1932. She modeled it after ancestral Puebloan people. I think I said that right. And it's a gateway to the Navajo and the Hopi reservations. And then after we went to the watchtower, we went to watch the sunset at Yavapai Point. I know I'm probably saying all of these names wrong. But the Grand Canyon is massive, and I do want to go back and see different parts of it and actually hike it because we only spent a day there. And then the next place we went was to Las Vegas, and then we stayed there for a night, and then we went to the Santa Monica Pier, which is in California, and it is where Route 66 ends. So Route 66 was made in 1926, and it starts at Chicago and it ends at the Pier. And the Pier is really cool. There's like different people there, like singing songs and doing different acts. There's a Ferris wheel, an amusement park. I wish that it wouldn't have been like 50 degrees so I could go swimming in the ocean, but unfortunately it was only like 50 degrees at the end of May. The next place that we went was Bryce Canyon, which is in Utah. It's absolutely beautiful. It has the red rocks and everything, and it was snowing at Bryce Canyon. And mind you, we did not have clothes for this. We did not prepare for anything like this. We didn't know that there was going to be a snowstorm.
Alright guys, it's fucking snowing here in Bryce Canyon. And it's like 30 degrees. Didn't expect this in May. Fucking snowing.
So we drove to Bryce Canyon. My plan was to drive to Bryce Canyon, and then we would go through the Grand Staircase Escalante, and then we would go on to Zion, Arches, Capitol Reef. I think there's another one. Canyonland. That was my plan. So we get all the way up to almost the top of Grand Staircase Escalante. I think we were only like 15 miles outside of the road, and then a huge snowstorm blew through, and there was probably at least a foot of snow within maybe 30 minutes. It was scary as hell, and we were like 15,000 feet in elevation. Okay, maybe that's exaggerating, but we were super high in elevation, and Katie Kia, which was our rental car, was sliding around everywhere. Do not get a Kia if you want to drive in the snow. Just an FYI. Anyway, so we were going up this mountain and we were slipping and sliding, and Jeremy finally pulled over, and then we saw a snowplow go down the mountain. Well, Jeremy's like, oh, maybe we should wait for it to come back. I was like, yeah, well, we'll go wait for it to come back and we'll just keep going up the mountain. Well, Mr. Impatient decided no, that wasn't a good idea. So we followed the snowplow back down the mountain. We had to reroute over 100 miles, and it was terrible. We eventually got to Zion National Park, which is actually Utah's first national park, and it also has the United States' longest tunnel, and it was 1.1 miles, I think. It's called Zion Mount Carmel Tunnel. It actually goes through the canyons. Super neat. Super, super neat. I can't wait to go back to Zion because I want to hike there so bad because it's so beautiful. So that was the end of our trip in May. We also took a short trip in July. It was at the end of July. We took a short trip to Bryson City, North Carolina, and we went on a train ride in the Great Smoky Mountains. And it basically explained about what happened in Fontana. And in order to build this dam, the government actually paid people to go on vacation, and then they released the water from this dam and they destroyed these people's houses and all its contents. It's a terrible, terrible story, and you don't see it online. I never knew that this had happened, but they don't really explain that online. It's just something that the local people know, so just keep that in mind. So in September, we took another trip. We went on a family vacation for a few days in St. Louis, and then we traveled on to Colorado because we didn't get to see Colorado in May due to the snow. And we first went to Pikes Peak, which Pikes Peak is 14,115 feet in elevation. And this is where America the Beautiful was written. It is beautiful. There used to be a cog railway that went to the top, which was so fun, but for some reason they took it down. I think they're trying to repair it and do different kinds of things to make it look better. I'm not 100% sure what their plan is, but I'm hoping they open that back up eventually. And then we went to Royal Gorge Bridge, which is the highest suspension bridge in the United States. It's 12,070 feet across and 956 feet above the Arkansas River. You used to could drive across it because when I went with my grandmother and my grandfather, we drove across it, but you can't drive across it anymore. You just have to walk across it. But I did make a huge rash decision to go zip lining. It is America's highest zip line and it's over 1,200 feet high. And I did that by myself because Jeremy was too scared of heights to do it. And it was so fun and so exhilarating. I would love to do it again. And then after that, I know I've mentioned Seven Falls in one of my videos before. It's in Colorado Springs. It's a beautiful waterfall that they light up at night. It's 181 feet drop, and you hike 224 stairs to the top. So it was kind of challenging, but it's really beautiful. After that, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, and it is the third most visited national park that was established in 1915, and it spans across the Continental Divide, and it protects many different ecosystems in the mountains, forests, and the tundra. It's absolutely beautiful. I want to go back there as well. And then that is it on our Colorado trip in September. And then in January, we decided to go to Key West because apparently January is probably the best time to go to Key West. So we went to Key West, and their most popular thing there is their sunset celebration. And they started that back in the 1960s, and it begins 2 hours before sunset. Let me tell you, the sunsets there are beautiful, and you would love it. It's beautiful. And then we went to Dry Tortugas National Park, which we had never heard of before our passport book. And the only way to get there is by seaplane or by ferry. We decided to take the ferry just because it was the cheapest way to go. And it is 70 miles west of Key West. And it also has Fort Jefferson on the island there. And Fort Jefferson is the largest brick masonry structure in the Western Hemisphere, and it has 16 million bricks on it. It was a Civil War military prison, and Dr. Samuel Mudd and 3 others involved in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln were actually imprisoned there. And the reason that it got its name of Dry Tortugas is because it was originally discovered by Ponce de Leon from Spain in like 1519 or something crazy. And Tortugas is the Spanish word for turtles. And apparently there are a lot of sea turtles there, which we didn't see any when we went, unfortunately. But we did go snorkeling, and it was really nice. And I want to go back and camp there at least for a night just to see how it is. And that is the end of all of our trips. I hope you enjoyed some of these pictures that my husband has took. And I hope to go on a bigger adventure sometime soon with you guys and show you some of the world, because really I've only been showing you a small portion of my world in my backyard. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and let me know if you have any other video ideas for me. All right, bye guys.